Hi, John.
Hey, Alex.
Do you know what I love?
What do you love?
That we didn't watch the movie Things.
I also love that we did not watch the movie Things.
Man, like, let me tell you, John Carpenter's The Thing is like, oh my God, is it better than Things?
It's way better than Things, and that's high praise.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could just have said, like, hey, John, you know what, I love John Carpenter's The Thing, but like this, I suppose this was slightly funnier.
It was, slightly.
Thank you. That's all I can really go for.
I'm Mr. Icicle. I'm Mr. Tenderloin. Friends call me Snow Miser. Whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch. I'm too much.
So John Carpenter's The Thing. I have not seen this in quite some time. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you, John Quincy Myers of Sioux Falls, Idaho,
Yep.
have you ever read the short story this is based on or seen the original black and white movie?
Yes and yes, but it's been years. Actually, we had the original on tape, and I remember like on a VHS tape with typewriter label. And
Fuck yeah.
yeah, I remember starting it after seeing The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and kind of being like, I don't get this, and you know, whatever.
This was my mistake. I saw that well after I'd seen John Carpenter's The Thing, and I'm sure that movie was fine back in 50, whatever, but like after you've seen this movie, it's like, this is really fucking stupid.
Yeah, I started. It's currently, as of this recording anyway, it's available on Tubi, The Thing from Another World, and I actually started it this evening, but then I got distracted. I had to go do other things, so I was going to watch it to compare and contrast before the show.
Wait, what's The Thing from the Other World?
Same thing, same movie. It's called, the original movie is called The Thing from Another World.
Oh, I thought it was just called The Thing.
No.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
No, but like
cool.
the logo, the Thing, like burns on the same way that John Carpenter's does, but it just says From Another World at the bottom.
Oh, no shit. Okay. Yeah, so the short story, I was doing a little bit of research for this movie because I was a little worried that I'd have not much to talk about because this movie rules. And
See, I'm not
going
to lie. I was worried. I was worried you were going to be like, yeah, I don't know, the pacing.
No. This movie's great. And like, I knew it was great because I've liked this movie since I was a child, but like that sometimes doesn't lead to the best conversation where it's like, hey, John, it was awesome. You know, so I was doing some research and I found this wonderful clip of Quentin Tarantino talking to, who's that guy that's really into Lord of the Rings? He was in the Hobbit movies.
Sauron?
No, famously has a weird ear. Oh, he's Stephen Colbert. So Stephen Colbert was talking to, I just wanted to be stupid and name the dumbest shit about him.
Famously has a weird ear.
It's the only thing you can think of. Yeah, he's got, one of his ears is like too low or something. I don't know. His ear is weird. It's not famous at all.
Okay.
I thought it'd be funny to describe Stephen Colbert in the most useless terms
Is this just
possible.
an observation that you've made about him? Or
No,
is
it's no.
like
He's got like a, it's like a, it got like ripped off on a fence, or he had like a,
his mom's birth canal was lined with cinder blocks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay.
Kind of, or yeah, he had that thing with the Sylvester Stallone thing where like the forceps crushed only his ear.
Oh, nice.
His ear actually sounds like Rocky now. His left ear, everything sounds like, yo, Galadriel.
His ear was great in Cobra.
Yeah. Married Cobretti. So yeah, he and Tarantino are talking, and Colbert was saying The Thing is like his movie. This is his happy place movie. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I know that's weird, but it's like when I'm stressed that I can't deal with the world, it's just this movie. It's so perfect. It's so great. And Tarantino's like, yeah, no, I fucking love that movie. And he brings up that this is a huge influence on Reservoir Dogs. And I went, oh my God, now that you say that, that's the most, like, that is 1-to-1. Like, oh, it's people trapped in a room not trusting each other and lots of blood and people are dying. Like, wow. Yeah.
And obviously a huge influence on The Hateful Eight. It's in as much as, the music's by Ennio Morricone, and then there's actually a needle drop from The Thing at one scene. They're like just panning around the room.
Okay.
Well, and the reason I noticed that is because, like Stephen Colbert, this is a bit of a comfort movie for me as well. And I highly recommend this movie if you're going through a breakup, if you're a dude going through a breakup, because it's all dudes and everyone's doomed. It's great. Feels wonderful. And I would fall asleep watching it, and I would wake up when the DVD menu would hit. And the music that would play in the DVD menu would kind of like wake me up because it felt very much louder than everything else. And that's the one that's in Hateful Eight.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so it's just an interesting. Anyway, look up the interview, people at home, if you want to. It was just such a revelation for me of like when he said Reservoir Dogs, of like, I never, when you said, hey, Alex, name some influences of Tarantino, John Carpenter's thing wouldn't occur to me, but the second that like was made aware of, like, oh yeah, that's 100% holy shit. Yeah.
It does make me feel better that I feel like in general in popular culture that John Carpenter has been elevated. Maybe he's not getting the critical accolades from the stuffed shirts and the and whatnot, but like people are going, no, he's like a legitimately great American filmmaker. I think he just got kind of pushed to the side because he does a lot of genre pictures, as they say. But
yes,
he makes great movies.
Yeah, he's also like the best dude ever when it comes to interviews. Like, so I saw this interview with him the other day, and this little kid in the audience says, Mr. Carpenter, what's your favorite sequel in all the Halloweens, and what's your least favorite? And he goes, look, I don't want to sound like this guy, but I don't care about any of the sequels. They're all kind of equal in my head. The only part I care about is the checks they send me because the sequels came out. And he's talking like it's a child. Like he could have easily said, "Oh, my favorite is part 3."
Yeah,
or just
like I don't know what's yours, something like that. But no, he doesn't care. In fact, like that's. I was reading this book called Shock Value, and it was about a lot of the filmmakers of that era of horror, and that John Carpenter's always been pretty business minded. And like that apparently like was a part of a huge falling out with him and Dan O'Bannon, like that he initially started with. But
well, that's a whole interesting story there. The other part of Carpenter I just want to praise because it's not in the movie, but his other thing of during interviews where he basically says, "I don't care, I just want to go home and play video games."
Yeah,
like he's a big video game. He's like in his 80s and he plays like modern ass video games. Like,
well, and there was one I saw where they ended with him being like, "Okay, I think you guys got enough. I got to go meet my weed dealer." It's like, hell yeah, man.
Just
also like imagine being you're the weed dealer and John Carpenter's on your schedule. Like that's awesome. That's gotta feel powerful.
Oh man, just to be able to like give weed to John Carpenter feels like a pretty cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Keen observers will note that Colbert's right ear sticks out at an odd angle. He's been deaf in that one ear since he was a child when surgery meant to fix a perforated eardrum caused damage to his inner ear. So, in your face, John, doubting me.
I never doubted you. I just never.
I saw the doubt in your face. You're lucky this isn't a video podcast because all the audience at home are sitting there judging me, doubting me. The one thing I've remembered in the 6 years we've been doing the show.
Can't remember names or faces, but can remember Colbert's got a weird ear.
The thing directly related to John Carpenter's thing is Stephen Colbert's ear while talking to Quentin Tarantino.
That's why you're the original bad boy of podcasting.
One to one, easy to put those dots together. So the other interesting thing is, John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon's kind of breakup leads to like modern sci-fi as we know it.
Basically,
like that's somewhat leads to Alien. It leads to a lot of the Dan O'Bannon sci-fi stuff. Like he did maybe Deep Space Nine, probably one. Like he did all this sci-fi shit. That really great one with the puppets and John Crichton, Farscape. Like, so there was like this weird argument that happened in about 1976, and then 40 years of popular entertainment like happened because of it. It was really interesting.
Yeah. Big split.
That was my nickname in high school.
Also, Dan O'Bannon responsible for Return of the Living Dead, which is great.
Is that the one with the punk rock kids? Because that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
That's the best. I know this is probably shocking, and I'm sure I've said it 7 times on the show already, but I had such a crush on that like goth dead lady in that movie.
Oh, sure. I mean, the with the short hair punk lady, or are you talking about like part 3?
Oh, I might be thinking about a later one because now I think about it. Yeah, I don't think it's Return. No, not that one. That's the one her tits get out all the time, right?
That is, well, it's Linnea Quigley. So yeah.
No, okay, no, it's not that one. This is like the next one or 2 later, where it's like 2 kind of gothy punk rock kids that turn into.
I think that's part 3.
Yeah, like
just based on the cover. I haven't seen part 3, but the cover is very gothy.
No, that's exactly
that makes way more sense for you.
And like it's just her like kind of disintegrating. Like,
You're like, that's my kind of woman.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Disintegrate for me, baby. I'm zombophilic.
I like a woman who will love me for a little bit and then go away.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Oh man, that thing like, oh baby, I'm gonna throw your spine out of alignment. That's the thing that like tough guys say when they're about to fuck. It's like,
oh sure, yeah.
No, this is like a thing on the internet. That's like a funny, yeah. Not like watching it, but I mean, no, it's like a meme that like that's like what a tough I want to fuck so hard. It's like, oh, I'm gonna throw your back out kind of deal. So like I'm literally going to throw your back out where your spine is removed, but you'll still be alive.
You're on a lot of chiropractic sex forums.
Yeah, brains. Yeah, baby, you can do that. I'm on fire tonight, people.
Swish.
So The Thing.
Oh yeah,
starring Kurt Russell and shockingly Wilford Brimley. Because I guess I knew he was in this movie, but he doesn't have a mustache, and it messes me up.
Yeah, he Wilford Brimley looking like a snack.
Yeah, he's looking. You know, in this movie, he's 27.
It's the best he's ever looked.
Yeah, and then Keith David, who Keith David is an interesting character, an interesting person. He was in every movie ever for about 30 years.
Yeah,
and no one ever thinks about him except for a Rick and Morty joke.
It's unfortunate. Like, I think that's a guy that deserves a lot more praise than he gets. And I think, like, in certain circles, he definitely gets it. But, yeah, Keith David is just awesome all around. Just that voice
he's
alone.
super good. Yeah.
But he's also a good actor. So, always happy to see that guy.
He's surprisingly good in this, where it's not like he's given much to do, like for his role, but like he brings a little bit of subtlety into it. Like there's something going on there behind the eyes.
Even just, and this is a small thing, but I really liked when he and Palmer are just watching the VHS of like The Price is Right or whatever, and Palmer starts lighting up a joint, just like the way he holds his hand out, like, give it to me when you're done, or it's a small thing, but I just really like that the way his hand is positioned.
Oh yeah. I didn't remember that was him. I just remember there's some other guy in the room. I did. I enjoyed the, like, I don't need to ask. I guess before we talk about, kind of detail about the film, and this isn't a digression. This is actually related to the movie, shockingly. What do you think they're doing there? Because it doesn't seem like
science.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you noticed, but there's not any scientists.
Norris is a scientist. Fuchs, I think, is also a scientist. There's a couple of doctors, but
no, I get that. But I mean, like, in what? Like, what exactly are they're like? We only see them hanging out and playing pool or ping pong in the beginning.
Sure.
Like, there's what science is being done here?
Well, yeah, like I said, like Vance Norris is a geologist. Blair, I think, is initially I looked up Wilford Brimley instead. Because Fuchs is Blair's assistant, so he might just be he's a biologist. So they're just doing different things.
So why would there be a biologist in Antarctica?
To test biology in Antarctica.
This makes a lot of sense.
And it could be a number of different things. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
this movie is not big on telling you things, and I'm totally cool with how it does that.
I am too, but I think this might be the first time while watching this it occurred to me, I'm like, what the fuck are they even doing there?
What caught me more this time is like, why are there so many guns just around?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you what my theory of that was when I was a kid.
It's America?
No, because it's not America.
Well, I mean, it's an American base.
Whatever. But the Swedes, I think they're Norwegians, had guns as well. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, I thought it was to protect you from polar bears.
Sure.
Which I'm pretty sure that's the wrong pole.
Yeah.
I think they're like the North Pole. And like polar bears are. And then Antarctica, I think is literally the name Antarctica is the one without the bears. I think is literally what Antarctica translates to. So then my little kid theory is gone.
but like that one guy has a handgun just on him, just hanging out, Gary. And then when the stuff starts going off immediately with the Norwegians, he just busts out a window. You're in Antarctica, man. What are you doing?
Shoots that one dude right in the
I know,
glasses.
but I just love the immediate, like, let's just bust out this window.
Now that guy is
not James Cromwell.
Yeah, what's his character name?
Gary.
Did they call him that? Isn't he Doctor something? Okay.
No.
So Gary.
Gary.
I thought his character was I've got PTSD from World War II was what they were driving at. Because he's the age in, kind of early 80s to be, he served in the war, the big one, and that's why he had a gun on him at all times, like because he was pretty twitchy throughout the film.
Yeah,
Like,
he's just the commander of the outpost, so probably just likes guns.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I don't blame him. But yeah, the other thing I noticed about this is, and I was nervous going into it, was it holds up incredibly well, except for like one glaring problem. And it's only, it's because it was made in 82. So probably came out in 82. So made in 80 is, technology advanced a lot. And I'm not trying to be like super picky here, but we see outside of the station frequently. And not once do you see the giant ice wall that we now know to be surrounding the circle that is the flat Earth. That they put that fake ice wall up, because that's where they would be. I don't know if you picked up on that. Like, Antarctica is the ice wall, and you don't even see it there once.
Well, most of the budget went to actually getting rid of that, because it was deemed the public was not ready to know at that point.
Yeah, you know what? I'm surprised I didn't think about that, but that's probably the most likely situation going on there.
Yeah, and under threat of death. That's why John Carpenter doesn't like to do any interviews and stuff in case something slips and he doesn't.
Yeah, that's why he's got to smoke so much pot. He needs to forget all the government sitting him down and saying, "Look, we need you to inexplicably lie for some reason about the Earth being flat, because we've got reasons."
And in that ice wall, frozen ice wall, is like basically Bigfoot's frozen in there.
Yeah,
chupacabras. Basically,
that's where all the dinosaurs went.
All the dinosaurs are in there. Yeah,
because the Earth is only 6,000 years old.
Dudes. Yeah.
Where did they film this? Do you know? I didn't look it up.
In the snow.
Yes, because there's some spots that, like, man, that shit looks cold. Like, usually, when you're filming snow stuff, you can tell it's like, oh, they were on a mountain in California, and it's like, yeah, it's probably 40. But like, no,
the thing was filmed in Juneau and other places in
there we go.
Alaska, Tongass National Forest, and Universal Studios Hollywood. Yes,
the Juneau of it makes complete sense, because there's a couple spots where you can tell it's fucking cold. Like, it's not effect,
Yeah. And some of it just like, it's so brutal, that environment. And I love it because it's also, they don't spend a lot of time like letting you know, like, get how cold it is. It's in Antarctica. You get it, like there's not a lot of establishing shots of that kind of stuff. And what you do see is actually very pretty, but it's desolate and there's nothing out there.
Not that you have the answer to this, but they try to, when the Norwegians show up and they're trying to shoot the dog, which, by the way, talk about like screenwriting 101, there's that thing, the famous thing, save the cat.
Yeah.
Where, to establish how nice your characters are, you have it save a cat at the beginning. This movie literally opens up with Norwegians trying to murder a dog.
Yeah.
But they try to radio McMurdo base, and they're like, oh, we can't get in touch. We haven't gotten in touch with anybody for 2 weeks. And I wonder if that's a reference to like the thing everybody on Antarctica is already dead. Like, they're the last base standing.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think about that, because I mean, like, it seems like that would have to be, they would be the first contact outside of the Norwegians, because you see the Norwegians pick it up, and unless there's always a possibility that they got up. I did not see the prequel that happened in 2011. I'm not. I almost watched that. That's available on Paramount Plus currently, but I know that's supposed to be like the Norwegian. No, I don't care. I don't want that information.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Because why would they go to McMurdo first if they're gonna? Well, because it doesn't matter. But the other thing I want to tell you is, do you know McMurdo Station in Antarctica has a disc golf course?
No kidding.
Yeah, they've got a 9-hole disc golf course. I've seen pictures of it. It's incredibly boring. There's nothing fucking there. Right. But it's kind of crazy. There's a fucking disc golf course in Antarctica.
You got to keep busy somehow.
So I just realized, I was looking through the cast list here, and I didn't realize that there was a rest of cast area at the bottom. And there's some interesting people. So the computer that Kurt Russell plays chess against is Adrienne Barbeau, does the voice of. John Carpenter is one of the Norwegians in the video footage, and Dick Warlock is one of the Norwegians.
Hell yeah, Dick Warlock rules.
Yes, that is. I'm not sure. Have we talked about him on the show?
Possibly.
Yeah, but that's Kurt Russell's stuntman for multiple decades, and the man with the coolest name ever.
It's a great name, and I think he was one of the stunt coordinators on Friday the 13th as well.
I think you're right. Yeah, he did. He was like, maybe he's still alive, but like, he's definitely a horror mainstay. And,
Yeah.
you know, his name is fucking Dick Warlock.
Warlock, which is pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
it's good times.
Adrienne Barbeau, ex-wife of John Carpenter. I don't know if they were married at that point, but
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, they were married for a little bit.
I did enjoy the. Oh, by the way, I read in the beginning of the movie where the Norwegians are trying to shoot the dog.
Mm-hmm.
If you speak Norwegian, they're screaming, "That's not a real dog. That's a thing. Kill it. Don't get it near you." So this
Nice.
movie could have just been saved by, knowing Norwegian.
I mean, it's already sort of implied that, you know, just the setup that like that dog's not normal, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, Darth Vader is, I forget in what language, is like Dark Father, and it's like,
Yeah, it's like Dutch or something like that.
yeah, I'm like, oh, he's your dad. Yeah, that's not weird. They've been saying that.
Yeah.
If you're- yeah.
Oh no, I meant like in the alternate universe where the movie was real and there's a documentary footage.
Oh,
like
sure.
if one of the people at base 31 went, "Oh, hey, I speak Norwegian. Oh, they're saying the dog isn't a real dog and then we shouldn't let it near us." And then the end.
But I kind of like that choice of it being Norwegians because it's like foreign without being too other, like
Yeah.
too other, but it's also like, no, who the fuck speaks Norwegian? In a
That's true.
handful of people, it's not that, you know, if they were German or something. But
You know, when they were screaming though, I did hear hund and thing. No,
Yeah.
not to say that I'd be able to translate that. I mean,
Right.
I have watched the movie The Thing a bunch, so I've been able to figure that out. But, you know, your dog thing, you know.
I just love how they biff it. They
they
like
suck.
the guy, like he's gonna go throw a grenade, and he just drops it, and it's just that like that human element of it that like I fucked up. It's not. It's that this all could have been solved, but it is just a simple mistake.
Yeah, boy, it's got to be fucking cold though. I don't like, man, your hands have got to just not be functional at all.
Oh yeah. It's brutal as hell.
So after they try to shoot the dog, we get introduced to Kurt Russell as McCready,
McCready.
and he's playing chess against the computer, talking to the computer, and then the computer beats him, and he pours a glass of Jim Beam into it and says, "You cheating bitch."
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird way to kind of get us to like the characters of this film. We've got dog murderers. We've got a World War II vet that shoots a Norwegian in the face, and Kurt Russell just pouring Jim Beam into it 2 weeks into the stay there. So now he doesn't have a computer for the next whatever amount of months.
It's J&B Scotch, and
Oh, is that
it's
not
also-
Jim Beam?
no, it's J&B.
Oh, I saw JB. I just assumed
yeah.
that's what that was. Okay.
No, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
But what I like about that is that it tells you like it kind of has that like, oh, he's a tough guy, doesn't play by any rules. But it also is, like you said, yeah, that he's just like he's willing to destroy this computer. That is that if things aren't going his way, he will just fucking destroy stuff.
I mean,
And
it is a good character beat,
it works very well for what happens later. That he's willing to blow everything up, and also at the end is like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
It's such a weird movie too. Well, I mean, it's not that weird, but if you think about it, it is. The computers are, what the computers do in this movie would be advanced for 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a full chess computer that can talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe they had that in 82, but certainly not
The
just some
Army
random
did.
ass thing. What's that?
The army,
Yeah, the Army did. But the computer later, where they show cells and like the kind of microphages and the virus that attack the cells, and then show this like Space Invaders animation of it happening in real time, like it's predicting what's going on inside of blood. Dude, that did not exist in 1982.
But I love that. Apparently, I wanted to watch this on the Blu-ray that I have, but I opened the box and the disc was not in there, and I have no idea where it is.
Oh, really?
So that sucks. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's a thing.
It's probably a thing I'm doing. But there's like, I guess, a part of the commentary track on that scene where Carpenter's like, well, they didn't really get it quite right regarding the thing's life cycle, but it doesn't really matter. And hell yeah.
Yeah.
That he's like, I made it work. It's fine.
It's the least shocking thing
Yeah.
I've ever heard in my life, because John Carpenter is he really is just zen about not giving a fuck, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious how he is on set, because that doesn't always, that might not cross over. But
I've never heard any. I don't think I've heard good things, but I've never heard any bad things about him on set.
I mean, it still doesn't necessarily mean that it's all roses. You don't have to be James Cameron, but Which I was thinking about that. Like
I
was
don't
watching,
know. Sorry, I don't know anything about James Cameron. Is he terrible?
He was a huge asshole on set, like infamously. But then he was talking about, I forget what the movie was, but he was like something where he was with Steven Spielberg on set. And he's like, I just kind of realized, people are doing what he's asking for, and he's nice about it. Maybe I should do that. Like, basically.
Now that you say that, I think you've told me this before, and my brain is great.
But and anyway, point is that whatever they got wrong, I don't know. It works. It works for me. I don't know if it's something like the computer program. If that's not 100% correct, I don't care. I got what I need to get.
That also reminds me, why is Morricone doing this? Isn't James Cameron? Now you got him in my head. John Carpenter famously does all of his own scores.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know the nuts and bolts behind it, but I mean, I'm sure if you get a chance to work with that guy, that you'd want to take it.
I mean, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I guess if the studio's like, hey, we want to give you the most famous guy that's done everything amazing ever. Even John Carpenter's not so grizzled and grumpy.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, like I said, I didn't really get into the nuts and bolts making of this thing in preparation. I more just thought about it.
How dare you? I did. Yeah. I did seconds of research, Sean. Do you need me to talk about Stephen Colbert some more?
Sure.
All right. So he found the Lord of the Rings when he was younger, and then when he really got into it was when he found the Silmarillion. So when the light of the two trees touched him, and I don't know enough about those to keep going like this. I do. I just wonder.
Is the two trees from the Silmarillion?
Yes, that is where the light that created the elves, I think, comes from. The light of Elendil became part of the two trees, and then the two trees yada yada. Audience at home, I haven't had sex in like a decade. And that's not actually true, but I don't know why I'm fine dunking on myself all the time, but that one I was like, yeah, I went too far there.
Okay. Hey, buddy. Hey, that guy's a friend of mine.
Yeah. Like, wait a second. I've tell the audience every show that I've rapidly onset dementia. I'm fat, depressed, want to die, but I'm not going to tell you I haven't had sex in a decade.
But I banged, damn it.
Yeah. I threw their back out.
But anyway, yeah, the thing. Yeah, what I love, so they take the dog in, and I think this movie is very good at sort of like making these individuals, even though like you don't really get to know them that well, but they're still like very much characters in their own people, and you can like recognize them enough and go, it's that guy, and like you could just tell a little bit about the personalities, and like the guy in charge of the dogs, who is Clark. Like, yeah, you're just what a sad sack that guy is.
Yeah, that guy annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah, Richard.
Like where he tries to like stop them from shooting the dogs that obviously are like, there's like a horrible monster that you can see with your own eyes right there.
Well, it's also interesting. Like you think about that. This guy's the dog handler. You think he probably has relationships with these dogs, and he doesn't put it together that there's, that like, I guess. Because he just doesn't put that one in the kennel for a long time because they're eating dinner or like playing cards or something. And he's like, "Why is this dog still out? Get in there."
Well, it's a new dog. I mean, it just rolled in from the Norwegian station. You don't want to like immediately introduce it to the rest of the pack.
But then he does. I mean, he doesn't like slowly introduce. He just kicks it into the, kicks it, but he puts it into the kennel with them when asked to. And this is when you start seeing the beautiful, gorgeous effects. By Rob Bottin and his team. That dude like worked himself to exhaustion on this movie, and like to the point that like Stan Winston and some other people had to take over towards the end. But
I would not that I was going to say I hope so, but I mean it's so obvious how much fucking work was put into this. Like it is 40 years later, almost 40 years later, no more than 40 years later. I can do math, and it still looks really good. There's a couple of like the only thing that I think doesn't and not even doesn't hold up is that's I'm being way too strong is that creature eyeballs just don't. It's just 1982 didn't have the technology to make them look good. But other than that, everything else is gross and kind of real and alien and it's really wonderful.
I think this is one of the best arguments for physical effects that there is because it's so great and just. The disgustingness when that dog's like the alien dog's like face opens and then the skull just falls out. Oh, yeah, it's just and nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong. it takes a lot of talent and effort and work to make CG stuff. Not knocking that, but I just think that the physicality of the creatures in this movie like add so much to it. Like really makes it present, like they're there, and gives it weight, and make it's so goopy. Which is that is a big thing. Like if you have creatures in your movie, you gotta make them goopy.
Yes, and that's I agree with the goopy point, but and to add to it is there's a weight to physical effects that just doesn't work in CGI. Not that CGI is bad, but you tend to have that kind of floating head problem where it doesn't matter how great the creature looks, the humans interacting with them, there's always like just this slight disconnect that kind of pulls you out. And this is just like, like that was gross on set. That guy had to use a scalpel and cut into a gross, like even though like those are real animal innards probably. Like the whole thing is fundamentally disgusting. And that really helps.
Yeah. And so they have to go like the monster starts making itself known and starts attacking the other dogs in a very disgusting scene. And they hear it going on and go to try to kill all the dogs. Clark doesn't want them to do that, of course, as Alex mentioned, but they do. And that's just such a great scene because the thing is while they're killing it or, trying to kill it, it's already changing. Yes. It's already like gooping around. Like when it comes that like mass with eyeballs that like flings itself up onto the ceiling and is hanging
That
there.
is one of the best parts in this movie. Oh. That is so cool.
But you also get introduced here to the core element of the film is that they ask Clark, like, how long did you spend with that dog before you put him away? That the paranoia has started. That like, okay, like what is this thing? Before they figure out the shape-shifting element of the thing is that like, what is this? This could have, whatever did this to the dog, like could have gotten into you. Is it a virus? We don't know. And just the amount of unknowns in this movie, even to the end, is wonderful. They just let that go.
It really reads like not the paranoia, the kind of paranoia is I guess the best word for it. Like the kind of internalized tension of every scene from that point on. Literally when he says, "How long were you alone with that thing?" And to the end of the movie, it's just there's you do not feel safe with any character, and to the point that I was watching some discussions on the thing, and there's a whole series of videos of kids that were making it. Like I saw this kid that he must have been 24, of his theory that MacReady was the thing the entire time. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he made this video in, this year, that like 24-year-olds are doing thesis things on YouTube to describe what they think this movie is. It's fucking amazing.
Well, there's various theories about when Blair becomes the thing that's interesting. And I like is that like, it's all just theory craft. It's all just, you can come up with your own shit about it that is not like, I doubt John Carpenter's gonna be like, no, it's this. He might, I don't know. But I think the movie is built to have you do that. To question some stuff.
Sorry. This movie better than I do. Is there any part of the film that the thing speaks cogently?
No. Right? Like as someone?
As someone.
Yes.
But I mean, is it like just that he says a line or two in response? Because it seems, I couldn't put my finger on a spot where like the whole thing of like MacReady being the thing is he's like stridently arguing against it. Mm-hmm. And everybody that turns out to be the thing, or that that by the end of the scene, they're going to be the thing. I don't remember any of them actually making an argument while they're the thing. There's like jean jacket guy while they're tied up. He's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, like he's talking and he's not like when it gets put to him, he doesn't really know how to deal with it. Palmer.
Yeah.
Palmer, Norris, I think he's already the thing when, like Knowles and MacReady and I forget who else. I think Fuchs go out to his cabin, and then when Knowles comes back in, he's like, "I cut him loose. I found the jacket that's all torn up. I cut him loose." I think Norris in that scene is the thing, and is like, "Well, maybe we should let him back in." Like, It's nothing. And I was just reading something fairly recently about that. Is someone kind of asking about, well, wait a minute, this person is probably the thing at this point, but they advocate pointing at that it's this other person who might be the thing. And it's an interesting concept with that, because the way that the thing operates is that, as you learn later, is the way like McCready sort of explains it, that they're these sort of like individual pieces. Like if you burn, this goes into the test later, but if you burn blood from a regular person, you put a hot wire in the blood of a regular person, it's just tissue. It's not going to do anything. But the thing, all the individual little cells are the thing, so it's going to react. And so is the idea that like the thing is it a hive mind thing, or is it just like, well, now that this little bit of me is over there, that's a different guy now over there. I'm still, like, are they all separate? And so this like, well, if I indicate him, then I'll be in the clear. And I like that element of it, because you're still not, it's not entirely clear how the whole thing works at the end. And all you have to go on are these best guesses. And unlike other horror movies, or some other horror movies, this is a problem I have a lot, is where a character will come out and be like, it's this. A classic example is, for me anyway, is Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, Part 6, where Tommy Jarvis comes back and is fighting Jason, and he's like, this is the only way to stop Jason. And the only reason you're led to like believe it is because he's been reading some books on the occult. But this is still a guy who escaped from an insane asylum just being like, trust me. But this like Kurt Russell's logic really makes sense, and you kind of see it form. But even then, you don't really trust Kurt Russell. So is this actually going to work? And I think it plays with that tension of not knowing really, really well.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect. So they're like, hey man, we should probably like go check out the Norwegian base camp, because there's like a hideous thing that is destroying everything. We should probably like figure some stuff out on the go. And they basically discover that they found a spaceship and a body that was buried in the ice, or something along those lines. And they watch the whole movies, and basically we get like as much plot as we're going to get. Like, something got buried that was dug deep, and a memory of mine sprung forth of the world that used to be. Is one of the guys, I don't remember who it was. I think it's the guy that reminds me of Dr. Jacoby. What's his name? Windows.
Windows. Okay. Yeah. Now I can see that. I'm like, there's several people that I can throw at that. Where
he's like, chariots of the gods, man.
Yeah.
The aliens were here all the time.
That's Palmer, but yeah.
Oh, that's Palmer. Okay. It's like they founded the Aztec Empire or whatever. And I just missed the old days. The pre-Giorgio Tsoukalos, the pre-QAnon of just, this stuff was just stoned people saying stoned people shit. And it was a better and more simple world. And why I used to love that stuff.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Chariots of the gods, man. It's so fucking great.
That's also one of my favorite bits. Palmer's the assistant mechanic, and just when he's like, we can get Palmer to take this. Like, yeah, I'll go get the chopper. He's like, no. It's like, well, thanks for thinking about it, though. Just that read. I love. And there is, admittedly, this version, this viewing of it, it's been a little bit since I watched it before, but years ago, before COVID, but not that far before COVID, a local theater company did a stage version of The Thing. And it was so funny. It was wonderful, because it was clearly like done with a lot of love, but like the creature effects are all very,
it's a stage play. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But it was so silly and so much fun. And so there was a lot of it. I kept thinking about the stage play while watching this movie, which is, I think, an indication of how much fun I had at that thing.
Yeah.
But just because our friend of the show, Greg Bagoni, was in it as Windows, which is what made me think about that.
You can't call him friend of the show, because I just sat there panicking going, wait, was he on the show?
Yeah. No. You know who else I call friend of the show? David Ayers, the director of Suicide Squad. So
he was on a few episodes. We just cut all of his parts out because of David Ayers.
Yeah.
All right. So we should talk about, all right. So we find out everything we're going to find out about The Thing, basically, through home movies from the Norwegians, yada, yada. What, in your opinion, is The Thing? Like, is The Thing a sentient life form that can build spaceships and crash on Earth? Is The Thing the black goo from Prometheus, like it just an agent of chaos thrown somewhere to see what happens. Is the thing the alien from Aliens, where it's just it got on those poor bastard ship and then crashed, and on the ship there's half-formed bodies. Like what are we dealing with the crash and the creature?
I from my own perspective, I think that the thing is something that the craft picked up along the way, and that like whatever you find, because they don't tell you why the ship crashed. It just crashed. You see the ship coming to Earth that you find is thousands of years ago. But you just see like it's just this flare up, and then it crashes. There's no indication of why or how. Thank God. Like you don't get this thing of like, oh, what's wrong? Although I do love that beginning. Have you ever seen Night of the Creeps?
Not that I remember. That sounds.
I just saw it for the first time this year. It's amazing, but it opens up with these little like naked aliens launching a thing out of space at the Earth.
That's funny.
That's like, oh God, this is a horrible contaminant. We have to get out of here.
You know what actually made me think of? It's Maximum Overdrive. Remember where they just randomly threw like a fucking a spaceship in the beginning?
Yeah. But so yeah, I think it's like it's a life form that, you know, maybe got out of control or something and took over. And whatever like the thing race it took over, like maybe that was the thing frozen in the ice, but then it got all gooped up. Like this.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was reading it as like that scene in Prometheus or the other one where David and Old Man are talking to the. No, it's not that one. You see an engineer, one of those big alien guys with an alien chest burster hole in his guts in one of the movies.
Yeah,
and
I the first one.
Oh, is that the first one? Oh, Jesus Christ. That's embarrassing that I got it confused with the later shitty ones.
Well, no. I'm sorry. I mean Prometheus of the new.
Oh, good. Okay.
New
I thought it was actually an alien. I'm literally going to kill myself.
No. The engineers were not. I mean, the one guy was.
Yeah, the one guy. Oh, yeah. So I thought it was that situation where like, you know, something got loose and, you know, the shit crashed and then all this stuff, which I like that better. Because if this is an intelligent creature that was flying that ship, that's dumb. I mean, it doesn't matter. The movie's still great, but like, yeah, I like our reading better. Well done. Let's call it John Carpenter.
Because I mean, there's also a thing of like, well, how does it know how to fly the ship? You know what I mean? Like when it's trying to get Blair to like rebuild the ship and stuff, does it like retain the information of people that it takes over? If that's the case.
Well,
he's trying to escape.
Because they talk like the person.
But it's all just speculation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because it seems much more that the thing's goal is survival rather than world domination. It seems like this is just a thing. Like it's being able to take over and replicate stuff is a feature of it, but it's not its end goal. It's just like, hey, stop trying to set fire to me. I just want to get off this rock.
Yeah, I don't know. I like them. I want them to be my friends. They can take me over if they want. I don't know when this happens, but there's another part I want to talk about in this movie. Oh, yeah. It's at the Norwegian, so we've already seen it. Is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a movie, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened since then, or if it has, I haven't seen it, is we see that the Norwegian that slit his wrist, and you saw his blood froze on the way out of his wrist. Yeah. That's fucking cool. Yes. Like that, whoever came up with that is like a fucking genius. That is really neat.
Yeah, it's very, very gruesome. And I love the fact also, and this would perhaps be an argument against, well, not really. I was going to say it could be an argument against there being an alien that the thing took over, because they come across charred bodies of what's left over of the Norwegian stuff. Like this melding of stuff. They're like, that doesn't even look human. And they take that to Blair. But like at no point does Blair go like, well, this is completely like inhuman. Where he's more just like, that's not dog. That's kind of dog. This is made. But there's no like this. I don't even know what this is. This is silicon based or something. And this is Odo. So I'm wondering if maybe either that, whatever was there was perhaps already burned. Or maybe. So
you're positing that the thing is part of the Dominion, aka the Founders.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It fits into the DS9 universe.
Yeah, it also explains why the end of the movie where they both fell into that chasm and then the Pa Wraiths died or whatever the fuck had happened. Spoiler alert for DS9, the shitty season.
It's not awful, but they just
No,
rushed
it's not.
that.
It's not.
Just,
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It's just a silly ending.
Yeah.
It's an ending of they probably weren't sure that the show was going to end. And they're
Yeah.
like, I'm going to guess if we get another
they
season, we
needed-
got something to do.
Yeah, they needed more episodes, but whatever. But yeah, but like, and then as you mentioned, like that goopy thing where then Blair is doing an autopsy on it, and it's just disgusting. And he's like, "Well, these organs look normal, but nothing else does."
Yeah. Some of the other creature effect stuff, just because we can't go over the movie step by step, because
No.
the whole movie is we walk into a different room and something horrible happens. That part where whoever gets it's turning into the thing, and he gets flamethrowered to the point that his head detaches.
Oh, and Norris does. Yeah.
Yeah, and his head detaches, falls on the floor, and then like tentacles start coming out, and it turns into like a spider head.
Yes.
But it still sort of has the guy's face on it, and it's
Yeah.
just, that is fucking pure nightmare fuel. It's so good.
And also just like the way, and some of this could be argued that it's to cover up some things for the effects as well. But I think it works to add to it when you just see the shadow of the head and all the legs start coming out. That is, I think that's way more effective than just seeing it straight on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably was, they did that to cover the effect, but like, that was still awesome.
It's still great. And I think that sometimes those limitations inspire you to come up with really neat effects to do that, rather than being like, well, we can just see it,
Well, it really works though, because they show like spider legs coming out of a thing, and like they show
dog,
it in like great detail. So using it as a shadow later doesn't read as, oh, we didn't want to spend the money on this, because we've already seen, no, we're going to spend the fucking money on this.
Yeah.
So like you feel like, oh, this is an artistic choice, not would that just saved us $60,000?
Right. But it is like that whole scene is great when this character has died. They all think it's MacReady at a certain point. They all think it's Kurt Russell. And the way the movie's set up, like, what's the TV tropes term? Plot armor. You don't necessarily feel like Kurt Russell has plot armor. It's Kurt Russell, but the way things are going in this movie, maybe it's going to be him and we're going to follow him as the alien now. I don't know.
Also, Kurt Russell wasn't Kurt Russell back then.
That's true.
He was an ex-child star that was trying to make his name as a dramatic actor.
Yeah,
so he's very killable, in as far as his career goes.
But he, so there's a lot of paranoia throughout because you don't know who's the thing and who's not. But Vance Norris, like at one point, like tries to rush him, and he throws Vance to the side, and like Vance like stops breathing. And they're like, "Oh my God, you killed Vance!" And they do an autopsy on him, and like they crowd everyone into the because Kurt Russell has a flamethrower and a pack of dynamite, and he's threatening everyone that he might blow everything up. Let's all go do the autopsy together. And when Copper, the doctor, is trying to revive him with Norris with the jumper pads, whatever you call those things,
Defibrillation paddles, John.
But when he's like, all right, and rubs on clear, and then the chest opens up, and still every time gets me. Every time
forgot about it.
God.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Jumped at me. Chest opens up and bites the dude's hands off. Oh, it's so fucking good.
It rules. And I also with that same character with Copper, that at one point during the movie, it changes every time. I go, oh yeah, he's got a nose ring, because I forget that every time that character has a nose ring. You don't see it's not very prominent. It's just a little loop. But
I don't think I even picked up on that.
Yeah. I always forget, and then watch the movie and I'm like, oh yeah, he's got a nose ring. But I also like though that later Kurt Russell just straight up kills a guy. Same thing where they're like, it's Clark is going to attack him with a scalpel because he's still holding everyone hostage with the pack of dynamite and the flamethrower. And he shoots Clark. And when they're doing the test later to see who's the alien and who's not, yeah, Clark's human. It doesn't shy away from that. It doesn't always excuse Kurt Russell's actions as, oh, he's always right. I mean, he was protecting himself, but he killed a guy.
And he's American,
and he is American.
He felt slightly threatened, so he
stand your ground.
He just shot up. He shot up a place as is our right. So in the height of paranoia, Kurt Russell comes back and he holds everybody hostage to the point that we're going to do a blood test. And the blood test he figured out, quite smart, because you were talking about how each individual cell is kind of a whole and wants to save itself. That if we bleed into a petri dish and put some hot stuff on it, you would see it react because it wants to save itself because they're individual life forms. And I've said this on, I don't know if we've talked about it on this show. I've certainly said it on other podcasts over the years. A pet peeve of mine, and it's not quite this in this movie, is I need some blood, prove it. So you take a knife and cut across your palm, which is the dumbest way to get blood. So in this movie, they almost do it worse, where they basically shove half a scalpel into the tip of your thumb. Which, dude, they have syringes. We saw them earlier in the movie. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I mean, this is not a knock on the movie. It's just like this pet peeve of mine of like, no, there's so many. Do you know how long that shit's going to take to heal? That's your thumb. He used that all the goddamn time.
Well, particularly, and I don't know who it is. I think maybe it's Windows. I don't know. Someone that, like, when they do it, they like squeeze their thumb to really get the blood out of it. And it's like, man, how much do you need?
Yeah, calm the fuck down, dude. Again, but also you're in the bed. Just go grab a syringe. It'll take a second.
We only have so many syringes. We can save it. But then with the scalpel, to reuse the scalpel, just wipe it on your pant leg. Yeah, that's fine. It's sterilized.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but pants are anti-thing-robic. So anything that touches your pants, the thing dies instantaneously. In fact, if you put if they put their blood on your pants, it would react the same way. It turned into Gloom hands from Tears of the Kingdom.
That's why Palmer wasn't wearing jeans.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love that the blood test scene and the one guy that turns into a thing again while he's still tied to two other characters. It is so cool. And the turn where maybe it's just me, probably not just me, but maybe it's just my take on this, is that I was pretty convinced that World War II vet was a thing by that point. Yeah. I mean, the movie really leads you down that. Yeah. But you know, a movie leading you one way and you actually taking that route are two very different things. Yeah. And I'd kind of forgotten. So when the guy next to him, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about this. Yeah.
And what I love here is, so when Palmer, it's revealed that Palmer's the thing, and like they're all freaking out and he's busted out, and then when Windows tries to get him, because Windows has been cleared. And so, and I like the way they do this several times, where it's like you'll see Kurt Russell do the test and then cut back and you'll see the person reacting like whoosh, and cut back, and then it's Kurt Russell standing next to that person doing the test. Like maybe they're holding the flamethrower. Like Childs all of a sudden has a flamethrower.
No, there's fun time jump cuts in this movie quite frequently. Yeah.
Like the way that works, but it still like delivers the information of like, okay, now they know he's on his side and whatever. Yeah. But when Windows is like that, and then when Palmer starts freaking out and becoming this thing and like plants himself in the ground and gets all big and attacks a Windows, and like the head of Palmer opens up and surrounds Palmer and is like waving the body around in an effect that you could argue like looks cheap, but it's so like uncanny and upsetting at the same time, because you're just like flailing this fake, it's clearly just like a dummy or, stuffed shirt and pants that's like flailing around. But there's something about it that's just so creepy at the same time that like I don't know if it's just the sound and everyone yelling that it's, you can like, I don't know, for me simultaneously, I can see it as being a cheap effect, but also like that cheapness makes it scarier somehow.
I was very much the same way. It's, I was talking about CGI not having weight. This is a case of practical effects not having weight. Like those legs and stuff look like they weigh 14 pounds and it's supposed to be a full-size human. But that dude's face opening up and biting another dude's face. Yeah. I don't care if the next part looks like a little chintzy. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it just seems strange. It just seems like, well, what's it doing to him that now he's all like floppy? And I think part of that, is keeping it in the realm of physical effects.
I realized on the physical effects point, or just effects on this, while watching this movie, because I haven't seen it in a long time, was like, I really hope the Duffer Brothers like just wrote a check to everybody involved in this movie, because there is so much shit in Stranger Things that was just completely lifted from the thing that like I just kind of forgot that it was like when the dog's face turns into like a pedal, it's just like that's like literally like you took you could use screen cap that.
I never watched it, but from my understanding, the Duffer Brothers owe a lot of people a lot of checks if they start doing that.
No, I mean, correct, but I didn't, this was one that I guess I did, I hadn't seen it long enough that I didn't like put those together.
Yeah, like I haven't seen it, so I can't comment one way or the other.
First season, worth watching. Rest, don't bother.
I have heard that as well. Well, basically, so it all falls apart, and at the end, you're left with the people that you know are not the Thing, like that have bounded together. And like, okay, we know we're not the Thing. We've killed the one guy that we know is the Thing. Blair, by the way, Wilford Brimley. We skipped over by this, but Wilford Brimley, it's sort of researching the Thing and finding out that basically it could take over the world so quickly, and the possibility that it's already infected someone that you know is very likely. He starts freaking out and starts destroying everything. And they're like, okay, would they isolate him and put him in a cabin? They check him out occasionally. And I love like when you just see him in there and there's the noose tied, like dude's off the rails. But there's a lot of different theories. Talk about theories of this movie. There's a lot of different theories about when he becomes the Thing. Because some people are like, no, he's been the Thing from the beginning, from the first dog thing, from other times. There's no real way to know. But eventually, like, he's pretty sure that he's the Thing, and they go to try to stop him, and they figure out that like he kind of wants to be frozen back in the ice so he can get thawed out and found when everyone. Kurt Russell has a theory anyway that he wants to be thawed in ice frozen in ice, so when people come to investigate what happened at this camp, that they'll thaw him out. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what Kurt Russell says. But then they go to try to find they found that basically like he's built a flying saucer, is my understanding, like that
that was my read, yeah.
Yeah. And that he's going to try to escape. And so they go to try to blow that up. And I love the moment when Blair like pops up, and I think it's to Gary, where he just like shoves his hand in his face.
Oh, it's so good.
And it just immediately starts merging with it. And just like the way he's reacting, kind of still looking to see if people are coming, but he's still like just fusing with Gary. And then I don't know. I love a movie that you've seen a billion times, but you pick out something new, like you forgot or you just glossed over. But there's the shot. It's a distant shot of like behind some boxes of him grabbing and like just pulling that thing around, a big elongated flesh merging between the face and the hand.
It's so fucking that scene. I don't think I remember that scene at all. The hand to the face I remember, but him dragging the body while his arm is now melded with the face of like. Whew, that is some powerful visuals right there. By
the way, like one of my absolute like favorite shots in all of moviedom is in this movie, and I if I was a smarter person, I could tell you why. The very beginning, when the dog is like putting around the base, and it's completely silent, which this movie is so good at that. This movie is so good at just being silent and letting things happen. There's not a lot of like, when the music's there to add tension, it does, but a lot of it just lets the scene play out. But when the dog's walking down the hallway and it stops at this doorway and you see a shadowed figure, you just see like the person's shadow gets the wall, and then like the dog walks in and the shadow turns and then it just fades to black. Gives me chills every time. I love that shot.
You know, there's a really good dog acting shot right before there. And this sounds like I'm going to go to a joke. I'm not. Mm-hmm. That dog turns the corner on the way into that room, and the way its head kind of traverses the corner. Uh-huh. And I know it's not, they didn't do, it just seems unnatural. I know it's a real dog. There's sure. But like, there's something off about it. And it's next time you watch the movie, pay attention to the dog turning the corner. It's just like, it almost like tilts the front of its body, like, I don't know, like 2 degrees too much for the turn. And you're just like, what? Oh God, this is, yeah.
Yeah. But just, there's so many just like little moments like that. And like the dragging the body with that just get you. And they're tiny things, but I love it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the end of the movie is basically they decide they're just going to blow the whole base up. Just make sure that the thing, isn't, going to get out. They're going to burn the fucker down.
And he does. And then you see then he's kind of like emerges from the fire. Kurt Russell, he's pretty beat up. And then he sits down and to catch his breath. And who appears behind him but Childs, played by Keith David. And they've had a very like head-to-head relationship the whole movie. Like they just don't like each other. You just get that vibe that like we tolerate each other, but we just don't like each other. And we also haven't seen Childs in quite some time. And so you have no idea, is Childs the Thing? Has he been thingified? Has Kurt Russell been thingified? But they're both like, I don't know. Are you the Thing? Are you the Thing? I don't know. If we're fucked. So why don't we just sit around and have some scotch and see how, see what happens.
I like that ending of I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, if you're the Thing, then I got nothing left. I mean, I'm out of shit to try now. So
yeah, my preferred read of that is that like neither are, is that it's just like the sheer, rather than try to find shelter and work together, that they're just like, nope, we're both just packing it in and the paranoia is just eating us and that's it.
That's my read as well, or at least the one that I want to lean towards.
Yeah.
I think that's the most interesting ending, because if one of them is the thing, it's a little too dun dun dun, because there's still somebody's going to come and check on them eventually, and then they're it's just two humans that they're done. Yeah.
And it would, I mean, but it's terrifying if one of them is the thing, because that means it won and it could get out there but it's like, I'd rather not know. I'd rather leave on that kind of that doom that isn't fully defined, of either like it's either doomed as in all of mankind is doomed, or it's just these two dudes are doomed, and it's more just about how they react to it, whether or not we're all doomed.
There is a runner in the movie with Kurt Russell drinking J&B there, and he shares the bottle a couple times, which if you're worried about infecting someone or being infected, that's not something you would do.
Right.
And I haven't looked into the theories of Kurt Russell is the thing the whole time. I mean, I saw that they exist, but I don't have the I'm going to sit through the whatever the room 237 of this movie is. Like, but my thought is, I bet you there's an alcohol theory. Because the way they show this purposeful drinking from bottles across the film, I bet you there's some crazy person that has tracked that to prove something, and it's or Calumet baking powder,
or just like how the blood test happens. Do you see blood go into the thing and then him do it, or does he just all of a sudden appear? Like, I meant to look for it, but then I just got too engrossed in the movie that I stopped paying attention to that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But I don't want an answer. You know what I mean? Like, I like having all the theories about it, but I don't know. I also at a certain point, though, I do think it'd be weird for Kurt Russell if he was the thing, to eradicate everything. To lay out his plan, but then I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of steps there. Maybe I'm just doing Occam's razor.
No, I don't buy Kurt Russell being the thing the whole movie. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense from a creature perspective. It just doesn't. It doesn't track for me.
But I also like the idea of the thing trying to set someone up. Is part of it too. Is that because they do find the ripped up Kurt Russell clothes.
But here's the thing, like when they're doing the blood test, are we also expect that Kurt Russell's also a talented, sleight of hand magician? They can trick people to thinking he's burning his own blood. Like it seems that part just seems a little like, look, that's as far as we know, unless there's a cut that I didn't notice that there's an obvious, that was 5 seconds later. And he went, hey, look over there.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Speaking of sleight of hand, is the way that shot is done when they finally hit Palmer's blood and doing the blood test, is that there's the way that shot is done, there's no expectation that something's going to happen there, because you see like Kurt Russell's hand is in the forefront of his arm is right there, and you're like, no, nothing's going to happen there because he's holding it, and then I just love that.
It's done really well. I meant to go back and watch that to see if that's a prosthetic hand or something like what.
I think it totally is, but I mean obviously it is, but it's how it's framed and shot. Like,
you really buy it.
Great work. But it's just a great story of paranoia and the devastation that wreaks. Yeah. But with good reason.
Yeah. In conclusion, this movie rules. Yeah. And you should watch it.
Always. Yeah. I'm like, just talking about it made me excited. I kind of want to watch it again right now.
Yeah. It's super good. Like there's almost nothing doesn't hold up. I literally, the only thing I can think of is that eyeball. Or not that eyeball, every eyeball of the thing. It looks dead. Which just, they didn't have that didn't exist yet. They didn't have micro servos to like make, it just,
sure.
I can't blame them. No one did anything wrong.
No, it's
but for
all,
something,
it's all
41-year-old movie, going on 42-year-old movie. And that's my only complaint. Well, fucking done, guys.
Yeah. Just got savaged by the critics when it came out. Like, I think like Roger Ebert called it like a barf bag movie. But it gained so much notoriety in the following years.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
People are idiots. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any recommendations for the audience for other things?
I just watched, been watching a whole bunch of horror movies and such, and I just watched The Medium, which I ultimately found to be extremely frustrating, but worth checking out because you might not have the same problems with it that I do. And then, as usual, I probably have talked about it on the show before, and I kind of want to make you watch it. The Boxer's Omen is one of my most favorite, not even just horror movies, but just it's one of the most bonkers movies I've ever seen, and I love it. It's just insane. We
can do a Patreon on it.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'll see. Yeah, I'll give you my Arrow login. And also, you might really like this, The Stone Tape, which was a British TV movie written by the guy who initially did the first draft of Halloween 3, but then hated what the movie became and took his name off it. But it because it's a British TV movie, it looks like an old Doctor Who episode. But it's about these people that like this electronics group that move into this abandoned like castle or cathedral, whatever, to like, we're setting up all our labs here. And they find this one room that's haunted, and it's a bunch of scientists like trying to figure out mathematically the haunting, basically. And it's pretty cool. I recommend that one a lot.
I have heard of that, actually. Somebody referenced it. I was watching. Who gives a shit? Yes, that sounds interesting. Yeah. I don't need to tell you the backstory of how I heard about something. During that entire time I was listening to you, I didn't think about what I should say.
How dare you listen to me? Don't ever do that. Have you been watching Bake Off? Have you seen the new Bake Off?
No.
It's good.
Fuck. I mean, I've probably done this before, but I'm rewatching Gravity Falls. It's a great show.
I don't know if that's specifically been, I think we've talked about it, but I don't think that's been a specific recommendation.
Okay, yeah. Gravity Falls is great. Rewatching it now, I mean, not that I've changed much since then, it's really, it's a delightful show. It's, you know, there's one of the characters, it's two young people experiencing weird shit in Gravity Falls, Oregon, but their uncle is like a grifter guy that just runs the Mystery Shack, and he's literally just a huckster. There's no other part about it. He just fakes shit. And he has some really fucking funny lines over the course of the show that like the first time I watched it, I was so into like the mystery young people aspect of it that I somewhat glossed over how fucking hilarious this man is. Sorry, yes. Watch Gravity Falls. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus and whatever. Oh, speaking of Hulu, The Empty Man is on there, which is a movie that we watched and was hard to watch for a while. So
yeah, and like it's one of those. I want a physical copy of that so bad, and I've been trying to like this Halloween season. I've been trying really hard to just really watch movies I haven't seen before, but like because that's available, I'm like, well, I got to watch The Empty Man. So I haven't checked it out yet, but it's on my list for the next couple of days, just because. Man, I love that movie. I saw
it pop up, and I was like, man, I like talking to you about that. That was a good movie, and I knew it was really difficult to, find for a while. So
I highly recommend that guy if you don't want to spend the 2.5 hours to watch that movie. The Guillermo del Toro Cabinet of Curiosities, that director did one called The Autopsy on there that with F. Murray Abraham that is awesome. It's like I think it's only an hour long, but it's really, really good. I highly recommend that as well.
I didn't realize F. Murray Abraham was still like alive.
Oh yeah, things. There's a very cute clip of him online. I don't remember how long ago it was, where he was at some event and people are cheering, and he realized they're cheering for him, and he's like, "Oh!" and he starts like eating it up.
Yeah, that's fine
because he's just a character actor. He's not used to getting that kind of adulation.
Yeah. Oh, good for him.
Yeah,
he deserves it. F. Murray.
Maybe he might be an asshole. Who knows? But I like him.
Nah, I think he deserves it. I have faith in Mr. Abraham. So, John, for next episode, nigh a fortnight from now, let's leave the horrors of fiction and move to the horrors of the real world.
There's a lot of them. I kind of wish I could do something about them, about certain elements of them, but I have no idea how. I have no idea what to do.
Have you thought about joining the Environmental Liberation Front?
What's that?
I don't know, people that blew up like Subaru dealerships like 20 years ago. But there's also that movie, How to Blow Up a Pipeline. What the fuck is this? I was hoping you'd introduce it, and then you threw back to me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do now.
I thought you were okay.
No.
That's improv, ladies and gentlemen. How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
I'm leaving this all in because it's funny to me.
How to Blow Up a Pipeline. We're going to watch that. There's a movie based on a somewhat controversial book that came out about how to blow up a pipeline.
Yeah, I'm there. Go to download what was it called? The Pirates Cookbook? What was that shit from back in the 90s?
The Anarchist Cookbook?
The Anarchist Cookbook, yeah. Get some of that, learn how to make napalm, throw it at the Speaker of the House.
I of like so many other people, I had that on a disc with that on it. And thank God I'm so lazy, because I would have blown myself up with a pee bomb. Like,
oh yeah.
Because that was one of those like, I can totally, I know how to pee. I can make that.
The only thing I made out of it was I did make napalm, but like I burned something in the woods. Like it's
Oh,
literally
yeah.
you put styrofoam and gas. It wasn't like I went to my chemistry shack. Like it was there was I had some styrofoam and dropped it in gas and then lit it on fire. And I was like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, here's something I should tell all the audience at home. I've referenced it before, but both of my podcasts, John and Alex Hate Stuff and WizBiz with Alex and Eric, are on YouTube now. So you should go ahead and subscribe there. But the WizBiz podcast is we're doing live shows and Twitch stuff that is also going to our YouTube. So, that's an actual reason to sign up because you're already listening to this. So like you probably already listened to my other show and like there's no reason to go to YouTube. But you'll see me and Eric talking. It'll be like, oh my God, that's what they look like. I'm going to stop listening.
I hope they kiss. It's too hot.
I will put it this way. If you donate $600, I will kiss Eric live on stream.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Not you, John, you can't do it.
Okay, I was going to say me specifically or...
No.
Because there's no incentive for the audience.
John and I can go on stream. I will kiss him for... I'll put myself in the corner there. Are you cheaper or more expensive than Eric?
You can't afford me.
Yeah.
If you can't handle me at my best, you don't deserve me at my kissing.
Yeah. So go to while you're at YouTube, subscribe to John's other show, Al My Knee Hurts.
Mm-hmm. This may hurt a bit.
Yeah, that's the one. All right. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.